Entitled woman demands treatment for her husband for free by ND25607. This OP writes great stories. You're going to love it. Quick intro. I'm a 34 female nurse for a doctor's office, and I also work overnights for an ER. I'm back again with another incident, and no, not our lovely Kevin. One of my pet peeves is that people assume urgent care is an ER. People, please be smart and understand that they're not the same. It's an ordinary Wednesday, with the usual patients coming in for treatment at the clinic when this couple comes into my clinic. My AA, administrative assistant, let's nickname her Nicole, greets them in and begins to register the patient after confirming that we do accept their insurance and will be able to treat them. He, let's call him Bob, he was really sweet, is wanting to be seen for a foot injury. We call him back to start getting his vitals, his blood pressure, temperature, height, and weight. Then, we send him back into the waiting room. After about 5 minutes, I begin to hear a commotion on the other side of the door into our waiting room. I take a brief pause with the patient and I go to see what all the chaos is. When I open the door, I see the patient's wife hurl a bottle of unknown substance at my poor administrative assistant. Here is what transpired. Karen says, "What?" Nicole says, "I'm sorry, ma'am, but we cannot." Our administrative assistant, Nicole, gets cut off. Bob says, "I have VA insurance and Medicare." "Is the VA primary?" "Yeah, the VA sent me here." "No, your Medicare is primary," says to Bob. "Shut up. No, his Medicare is primary," and turns and says it to our administrative assistant, Nicole. Well, just give me a few minutes," Nicole replies. "I will verify the insurance. If you wouldn't mind, could you fill out this additional paperwork?" I approach Nicole, ask her what's going on. She tells me that they're here for a foot injury. They're angry that the VA wouldn't treat them and that she cannot get a straight answer out of them. So I go to the back real quick, grab something to photocopy, only to eavesdrop on the conversation. "Ma'am," Nicole starts, "I was able to confirm that the Medicare insurance is primary, so we will be able to run it under the Medicare policy. There's just a $40 copay due for today's visit." "Excuse me?" "I'm sorry, but it looks like there's a $40 copay due for today's visit. How would you like to take care of it today?" Very smugly, Karen replies, "I don't get paid until Friday, so you will have to wait until Friday." "I'm sorry, ma'am, but that is not how things work here. We cannot just treat you without being paid first." "Oh, it's fine. You can treat him. We have nowhere else to go, and you can just bill us." "I have VA coverage and Medicare. I shouldn't have to pay anything for today," Bob replies. "That would be correct, sir, only we are not in network with the VA or TRICARE, so we wouldn't be able to bill VA for your care or your copay. Therefore, we would have to collect the $40 copay in order for you to be seen." "Look, can't you just treat my husband and bill us for today?" "No, ma'am, you will need to pay or I will have to ask you to leave." At this point, I emerge from behind the wall that had the photocopy machine. "Hey, is everything okay?" I say. Nicole tries to explain the situation, even though I've heard every single word, when the entitled Karen cuts off Nicole. "This rude girl is refusing to have my husband seen. Isn't it your job to see anyone who is hurt or sick?" "Oh, I'm sorry, ma'am, that you've gotten confused. You see, we are an urgent care clinic. My provider and I will gladly see your husband as long as your insurance is within network." Our beautiful Karen replies, "We are in network. Now treat my husband." "Ma'am, I've been listening to your conversation with my administrative assistant, Nicole. Although you're in network, you're refusing to be treated in our clinic because you're refusing to pay for the treatment. Now, I don't care for your tone or how you've spoken to my administrative assistant. I think it's best you leave. You will need to take your husband to the nearest ER for treatment, as they have measures set in place for individuals like yourself." "How dare you speak to me like that? I demand to see the provider." "Ma'am, as I am the head nurse here at this moment, I'm the only provider in the facility, and I refuse to see you." "You cannot do that," she whimpers. "It goes against your Hippocratic oath to take care of the sick and injured." "Ma'am, I want to make it clear. I'm not refusing you. You are refusing me. Now, you're refusing to leave my clinic. Please leave, or I will have you escorted out of this building by the police." But you, she stammers out while being dragged by her husband. "This isn't the last you've heard from me. I will tell everyone I know how terrible this place is." "I'm sorry," Bob says. "Thank you for your time. I fully understand," he says sheepishly, as if he is embarrassed. Turns to his wife. "That's enough." Since this incident, Bob has returned for follow-up treatment on his injury. He is the sweetest man and refuses to bring his wife back to our clinic. I apologize profusely for the incident and how things transpired. While caring for him, I found out that he had a trailer hitch fall onto his foot. He suffered a minor sprain in his foot, and Bob has been making a full recovery. Do you agree with this comment? $40 for a medical treatment like that probably cost hundreds or thousands without insurance. How dare you? Darn Karen, how dare you pay for something that you're supposed to pay for? Screw them kids. How a grown man threatened to call corporate over a child. Posted by Other Cantaloupe 4765, author of the Mega Karen story. Oh, here we go. Children in hotels. They have the potential to be adorable and funny, shy and quiet, or obnoxious little hellions. For every baby that smiles and waves at me, and every toddler that excitedly tells me about their birthday or new toy, there are two obnoxious, spoiled brats who run screaming through my lobby. The spoiled brats can be annoying, but what's even more annoying is when the parents ignore it, or worse, encourage it. And there is no shortage of bitter adults getting angry over the sound of children. I once had a guy threaten to call the cops if the toddler in the next room didn't immediately stop making all noise. Now look, I get it to a certain point. It can be freaking annoying to have to listen to toddlers or babies running around and crying when you're trying to relax or have a nice, quiet holiday. We try to keep the kids on the first floor so they're not disturbing to the other floors. But there's not a ton you can do when one adult checks in, gets assigned a top floor room, goes outside to park their car and unload their luggage, and then comes back in with 4 young children. That makes me internally scream. I checked in one older guy, probably middle-aged, in the day before. He was pretty gruff, but he softened as I talked with him. No issues. I put him in a room and he was on his way. 2nd floor. He was staying for 2 nights, so let's refer to him as Joe. Fast forward to the next night around 10:45. A family comes in with 2 young kids. My best guess is they were both around the age of 4. The parents looked older. I actually thought they were the grandparents at first. Whoops. And I only realized my mistake when the woman referred to her partner as Daddy when talking to the kids. Anyway, no more rooms on the 1st floor. I'll have to put them on the 2nd. Dad was outside parking the car and getting the luggage unloaded, and Mom was inside with the kids. They'd been traveling all day. The kids were running around, touching things and being loud. Kind of annoying. Mom told them to stop a few times before just giving up. She looked very, very tired. I don't blame her. I noticed and I said, "Hey, do you kids want to watch TV for a little bit?" They ran to sit down. I turned on the Disney Channel for them, and they didn't make another peep until they were going up to the room. Mom flashed me a grateful smile. Okay, so Dad comes back in, and they all shuffle into the elevator. It's 11:05 p.m., and not 5 minutes later, Joe gets off the elevator and comes storming into the lobby with bulging eyes. He was obviously ticked. He said, "Some kid woke me up. You can either comp my room or I will call corporate now." Holy crap, dude. Talk about overreacting. Hey, I apologize for the noise. They just got here. They were just getting settled in their room. There shouldn't be any more noise from them. I know that. The noise only lasted about 20 seconds before it stopped, but the damage has already been done. They woke me up and I won't be able to go back to sleep because of the adrenaline rush it gave me. And your security cameras, they caught all of it. So there's proof. I have to leave at 1 a.m. This is unacceptable. Comp the room or I'm calling corporate. Holy freaking crap, bro. Imagine being so ticked that you call corporate over a 4-year-old. What exactly do you expect them to do? Look, I get that it's annoying. I'm sorry that you were woken up. I know it's late, but the noise stopped. Corporate ain't gonna kick a 4-year-old out on their butt because they got a little rambunctious. How about 10% off? How about 30%? I'd have to run that by my manager, who is at home sleeping. Fine, then just give me the number for corporate. I don't have the corporate number. I'm not sure where it is, but I will give you my GM's business card and you can speak to him and get the corporate number if needed. Fine. So I gave him the business card. He looks at it, tosses it back on the desk, and says, "You gonna call him for me?" Right now? Yes, right now. Those kids woke me up, so now you can wake your manager up. It would be funny if he wasn't so ticked and aggressive about it. To be honest, it is still kind of funny. You're calling corporate to report a toddler? Ridiculous. And I did, indeed, wake my manager up. I handed the guy the phone, and I listened as he recounted the incident dramatically to the manager. You'd think that jerk just returned from the Great War rather than his hotel room with the way that he was talking. And he made sure to detail my insulting offer and my incredulity over the way he wanted to call corporate on a toddler. He hands the phone back to me, and I ask my manager what's up. He tiredly sighs and says, just give the guy 30% off. I'm not arguing about this at 11:30 p.m. So, 30% off for the bitter butt who leaves at 1 a.m. Whatever. So it was recording Karen last week and then the corporate threat dude this week. My manager came in the next day and, long story short, now the entire office has been assigned training on de-escalation. Now here's some context in the comments that I did not consider, but it makes a whole difference. Gingy Butt says, "Bro, you are wild for waking your general manager up." OP replies, "I was salty about the incident the week before when I told Karen to get the heck out because she was screeching and calling me names. Management told her that they'd upgrade her room for no additional cost. You're rewarding Karen for her tantrum? Ring ring, time to get out of bed." Business class upgrade, if there is room, posted by Northwest Passage. I used to work at a regional airline. The jet we used for our flight to the big city had 6 business class seats. The business class service was really good for a 2-hour flight. I mean, it included a full bar service, it had a hot meal, warmed bread baskets, and it's followed by a trolley with dessert and signature coffee. The good old days. Now, one of our regular travelers was just a local business owner who was just a slimy businessman. I mean, he had a reputation for making a lot of money from some pretty shady deals over the years. We would roll our eyes when we saw him coming to the check-in counter because he would always name drop and ask for special treatment. He always used the business class check-in line even though he was usually in economy. He didn't have frequent flyer status, but he was buddies with one of the airline executives, and he always let us know this fact when he checked in by making sure to tell us that he was good friends with Vice President Karen. He would always ask for free upgrades, extra baggage, not charging a change fee, last-minute discounts, and blah blah blah. If he didn't get what he wanted, he immediately called Vice President Karen, who would usually then call us and approve whatever it was that he wanted. One day, slimy businessman checks in for his flight to the big city and of course name drops and asks for a free upgrade to business class because I'm friends with Vice President Karen and she said it would be okay. He was traveling on a discounted ticket that was not eligible for upgrade even if he did have an upgrade coupon, which he didn't. I informed him that he was not eligible for any upgrade on this ticket and I gave him his boarding pass and sent him on his way. Of course, he flips open his cell phone and immediately calls Vice President Karen. Within 2 minutes, the phone at the check-in desk rings and, of course, it's Vice President Karen authorizing me to override the policy upgrade to the slimy businessman to the business class with no upgrade coupon required, if there is room, she says. The flight that day wasn't that busy, and only one person booked in business class, leaving 5 open seats. I was really irritated, but I begrudgingly put the slimy businessman on the upgrade list anyways. He returned to the check-in counter and picked up his standby boarding card and gave me that smug, told you so look. But then what VP Karen said clicked with me. If there is room. The next passenger I checked in was a super nice lady, big smile and friendly. Please and thank you. Oh, thank you so much for checking my bags to my connecting flight. That's so nice of you. I mean, I was taking my time and we were chatting a bit, well, since it wasn't that busy. She was a teacher going on a trip to see her family, and it was her first visit with them in over a year, and she was going to meet her new little nephew for the first time. She was just overjoyed just to have the time off to travel. I typed in a few things into the computer to make it look like I was checking something about her connecting flights, and then said, "Oh hey, you've been selected today to receive a free upgrade to business class." She was shocked. "I've never flown in business class in my life. This is so amazing." At that time, we were rarely questioned if we upgraded someone without a certificate. Over the next 20 minutes, I found excuses to upgrade 4 other passengers. One who worked for one of our top corporate accounts, one who was, well, legitimately a frequent flyer. I can't remember the other reasons, but by the time that I went to board the flight, I had to tell slimy businessman that I was sorry, but our business class was full and I couldn't offer him an upgrade today. The teacher that I upgraded profusely thanked me again when she boarded with the rest of the business class passengers. Little did she know that it really made my day also. Now, there were no repercussions to my actions. We rarely upgraded passengers randomly, so it wasn't something that caught management's attention, and they mostly trusted our judgment on these things. But like many customer service jobs, I'm sure if you were nice to us, we would go out of our way to help you. If you were not nice to us, we would apply the rules very strictly. Our boss did watch baggage like a hawk though. If you printed more bag tags than the passenger allowance without collecting the excess fee, it showed on your daily report, and you would be asked about it at the start of your next shift. Oh, this story, if this is not a Karen, I don't know what is. It's called, "I Demand You Drive to My House and Restart My Router for Me," posted by Macrillan. I remembered another little gem from a month or so back. The customer had sent in a trouble ticket that his internet was not working after changing internet speed. My department at Second Line proceeded to troubleshoot it, and we could not see anything wrong. We could clearly see his private router was receiving an IP address and it was pingable. As such, I called the customer to ask him to connect a PC directly to his CPE. Unfortunately, this was not an option. See, it turned out that the customer was not even at home. Instead, he was around 800 kilometers away on the other side of the country and would not be home for 5 months or so. How did he know that his internet did not work then, you might ask? Well, apparently the guy had some kind of surveillance system with a ton of cameras, and he could no longer connect to them remotely and demanded that we fix it. I might add that our support stretches to making sure internet works at home on one unit, not troubleshooting people's security systems connecting via VPN. I told the customer the deal, that we did not see anything wrong, and that he needed to restart his equipment, CPE and router, and connect the PC directly before we could even consider taking this ticket further. The absolute basics. But, as mentioned, the customer was not exactly available to do this. Instead, the customer thought that we should send out a technician to his house and I guess break in to restart his equipment. Naturally, I told him no, since that would be highly illegal. The customer then demanded that we reimburse him for needing to travel 1,600 kilometers back and forth to restart his equipment himself. Naturally, I told him we would not do that. He also demanded us to tell him his IP address so he could fix the issue himself. Naturally, I told him that we do not give out IP addresses over the phone, since that would be highly illegal and go against GDPR. It went back and forth like that for around 20 minutes. In the end, I told him, look, your options are either go home and do basic troubleshooting or live with the issue of not being able to use your cameras remotely until you get home in 5 months. Which one do you prefer? The customer refused both options. I then hung up the phone. Rumor has it that the customer still cannot access his security cameras from wherever he is at. Karen puts a disabled man in my ER. I press charges. Click the video on your screen so you find out what happens, and I'll see you there.